Formula 1 was an embarrassment during the Saudi Grand Prix. Well, where on earth do I begin for one of the most ridiculous races I have ever witnessed in the 20 plus years that I've watched this sport? Formula 1 is the pinnacle of motorsport. The pinnacle, which means the best. However, what we witnessed today in the midst of one of the greatest title fights we've seen is nothing short of a clown show. This isn't the first time the FIA, headed up by Michael Masi, has screwed up in the last couple of seasons since we tragically lost the legendary race director Charlie Whiting. A few examples include having a recovery vehicle still on track when the drivers were sent out for qualifying last year in Turkey, Stroll going full speed whilst marshals were on track in Imola, or Bahrain when a marshal literally ran across the track to put out a fire. That's one side of the incidents, the ones where people's literal health and safety is on the line. The other side is the general inconsistencies and incompetence of the stewards and the FIA when it comes to sporting decisions. I'm thinking of Verstappen and Hamilton not even being investigated in Brazil, or the incidents involving Perez, Leclerc and Norris in Austria 2020, and how that didn't align with the precedents that they had set previously. It's understandable that some decisions the stewards make will be 50-50, people will disagree. But when there are rules put in place and then not followed through when an incident actually occurs is bewildering to me. We've set the scene now, and clearly, by the title and introduction to this video, you know this ain't gonna be a happy, bouncy, woo, I love F1 video. Of course, I love F1 to absolute pieces, and this is why making this video is even more important to me, because things have to change. Here we go then. These are all the moments I believe the stewards either made the wrong decision on, or just plain made up their own rules. Let's start with the Mick Schumacher incident. This is probably the one I have the most understanding and leniency for. Safety will always be paramount in Formula 1, but I feel like the FIA are too slow on the ball, especially when there is an incident and then how long it takes to deploy a safety car. Verstappen at Baku this year is a great example of this. For this particular one, there was quite the delay between putting out the red flag, when in reality, was there really anything that you needed to see down on track that you couldn't see from the TV cameras already? Now, let's talk about the first restart. Max went over the runoff after trying an audacious move around the outside and took the lead away from Lewis. We then had another red flag very shortly after. This is where it gets very weird. Masi comes over the radio and offers Red Bull this very strange offer of letting Max start from P2. I'm sure you were like me, sitting there going, why P2? Anyway, then Michael Masi realised Ocon was leading. Poor Esteban, literally got forgotten about. And then offered Red Bull the chance to accept P3 behind Hamilton and Ocon on pole. Why on earth is Michael Masi doing some weird bargaining deal with Red Bull rather than ordering them to do it, or they'll be referred to the stewards? The stewards do have the power to instigate an investigation on their own, but for whatever reason hadn't at that point. So instead, we had Michael Masi using his power in a very strange, weird, odd way. On lap 37, we had Lewis passing Max until Max lunges and goes off with Lewis into the runoff, which, in my opinion, felt very similar to Brazil. This incident was noted by the stewards. Max was then ordered to give the place back, and then we had this very strange occurrence between Max and Lewis where Hamilton simply drove into the back of the Red Bull. Turns out the FIA hadn't told Mercedes and Hamilton at the same time as Red Bull, so they weren't aware that Max was going to slow down. I mean, what a shambles! Why are they both not being told at the same time? Then, for whatever reason, there was a 3-lap delay where no one knew if Max had to give the place back. Then 2 laps after that, Verstappen lets Hamilton through, and Max repasses him in the literal next corner, which isn't allowed. Max then receives a 5-second penalty for running wide at turn 1, which was surely the same incident for which he gave the position back for. But then he overtook Lewis, so surely that should be the thing under investigation. Verstappen then, for whatever reason, lets Hamilton back through after being given the penalty, even though he didn't need to. As you can tell, I'm pretty frustrated. This cannot happen ever again if this sport is going to be deemed as the greatest motorsport in the world. The examples I've given of the lack of competence from the FIA only scratches the surface. An investigation needs to happen into the inner workings of the FIA and find where the weak points are. F1 is in such a good place right now for bringing in new fans, but they'll turn away just as quickly if there aren't clear-cut rules in place. You can't just go offering teams bargaining deals and think that's the way things should go. There you have it, a pretty big rant about the FIA and how they screwed up massively during the Saudi Grand Prix. What did you make of it all? Let us know in the comment section below. Just a very quick interruption to say please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are pumping out videos daily at the moment, and I don't want you to miss them. Love ya.